A brand new game show called To Tell the Truth aired on a major American television network. Virtually all the episodes are pretty similar, but there is one episode that will forever go down as the most unique. 3 contestants walked out onto the stage in front of the 4 celebrity judges, and they all introduced themselves as Ed Edwards. Then the host of the show would say that Ed at one point was on the FBI's list of the top 10 most wanted criminals in America for crimes like armed robbery and impersonating a federal officer. A prison guard helped him turn his life around, and then upon release from prison, Ed remained this reformed criminal and became a successful author and motivational speaker. The celebrities cast their votes, and then the real Ed Edwards was revealed. The crowd was totally astonished at who this guy actually was, because he did not look like this ex-convict. The show ended, and then the world forgot about Ed Edwards. Until 2009. Ed's estranged daughter, 40-year-old April Blasio, finally decided to investigate something that had plagued her for her whole childhood. Despite her father's claims that he was this reformed criminal and this stand-up, law-abiding guy, she didn't believe it. She never believed it. Behind closed doors, Ed was violent and he was a compulsive liar. She remembered in the 1970s and 80s when she was a young kid, Ed would make their family pack up and move, sometimes in the middle of the night, and April always assumed it was because her dad was wrapped up in something criminal. She hops in her laptop and she starts typing in the different names of towns that she and her family lived in as a kid. She'd write unsolved mystery or unsolved crime, and she would see if anything popped up. She found one in 1980. It was an unsolved murder that happened right around the time that her family very briefly lived in this town. There was this young teenage couple that had left this wedding, and they had driven down this dead-end road when an unknown assailant, who matched the description of Ed Edwards, walked up to their car, broke in, shot them both to death, and then disappeared. And so on a hunch, April called the Watertown Police Department the following day and told them that, I think my father might have been responsible for this double homicide. And so the Watertown police, they tracked down Ed Edwards, who was living in Kentucky at the time, and they got him to give them a DNA sample. And when they tested the DNA sample, it matched the samples that were taken at the crime scene. He was arrested and brought back to Wisconsin, and as soon as he was in custody, he confessed to the murder. And then he requested the death penalty. But he was told the maximum punishment for this crime was life in prison. Ed didn't like this, and so he confessed to another double homicide from 1977 in Ohio, where he killed another teenage couple. But through a loophole, they said, well, actually, that still won't get you the death penalty. And so frustrated, Ed revealed a third murder he had perpetrated. In 1996, he had killed his own foster son for the insurance money. And so for this crime, he was eligible for capital punishment, and so he was sentenced to death. But he would die of natural causes 2 years later in 2011 before the state could execute him. Cold case investigators and members of his own family have theorized that Ed Edwards is almost certainly responsible for more killings beyond just the 5 he happened to confess to. In fact, many people believe Ed Edwards could actually be the infamous Zodiac killer. If this is true, then Ed Edwards did not become a killer after he was on that game show in 1972. No, at that time, as you're watching him on TV, he would have already been a seasoned serial killer with dozens and dozens of victims. But Ed stopped confessing to murders after that third confession because he was just kind of using those murders as bargaining chips to get what he wanted. And now that he's dead, we're never going to get another confession out of him, and there's no proof connecting him to any unsolved murder cases, and so unfortunately, it's unlikely we'll ever know the full extent of Ed's reign of terror. Just know that I really appreciate your support, and until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.